of this Vamanadev. Dadami, I shall give. Vanchitam, whatever he wants. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. So by giving charity, a benevolent and merciful person undoubtedly becomes even more auspicious, especially when he gives charity to a person like your good self. Under the circumstances, I must give this little brahmachari whatever charity he wants from me, responsively. By giving charity, a benevolent and merciful person undoubtedly becomes even more auspicious, especially when he gives charity to a person like your good self. Under the circumstance, I must give this little brahmachari whatever charity he wants from me. Purport. If one accepts a poverty-stricken position because of losing money in business, gambling, prostitution, intoxication, no one will praise him. So you're doing all these activities, you lose money, no one's going to praise you. But if one becomes poverty-stricken by giving all his possession in charity, he becomes adored all over the world. Aside from this, if a benevolent and merciful person exhibits his pride in becoming poverty-stricken, hey, I became poor. It's like Queen Kunti saying, give me more trouble. By giving his possession in charity for good causes, his poverty is welcome and auspicious sign of a great personality. Bali Maharaj decided that even though he would become poverty-stricken by giving everything to Vamanadev, this is what he would prefer. Anyone wants to do this? We have one car, one house. He had the whole universe. Yeah, take it, no problem. Om Jnanatimandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Miltam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dattati Swadantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyacha Kripasinubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachayini Vishesha Shunyavadi Pachatateshtaine. So this is a practical example of one principle of Lord Rishabhadev teachings. What would that be? Starts with a T. What is Bali doing? What is Bali doing? Anyone? Huh? He's renouncing. He's giving something. Charity. He's giving something. And what is he getting back? Okay, what is this something? He's giving something where he can enjoy the whole world. So he's giving some sense gratification, and what is he getting back? What is he doing it for? For a higher purpose. So that's called tapasya, right? So that's one of the main principles that we learn in the Bhagavatam, that we have to give up lower levels, some comfort, so we can get a higher cause. So and it has to be voluntarily. So his guru is telling him, don't do it. Like in the morning we get up and the mind is saying, don't do it. And we say, no, I want to do it because I want to go back to Godhead. So he's saying, no, I want to do it because it's Krishna. I want to give it to him. And Sukhachai is giving so many reasons. You know, sometimes there's reasons you promise, but you don't have to do it. You can do it in this way. There's no problem. Don't give it away. And he's saying, no, I'm going to do it. So this is what we learn when we come to Krishna consciousness, that we have to give up certain things for a higher cause. Now what's the higher cause? Krishna consciousness, going back to Godhead, or at least taking a human birth. So that is called tapasya. Voluntarily giving up some position of comfort so I can attain a higher cause. So Prabhupada explains that even the ants, and he gives the example that the psychologists, they've analyzed that they also have propensities to enjoy life like us. Because everyone has pushes. Everyone wants to eat, defend, sex life. All these things are there. And we all have these pushes and they cannot be stopped, but they have to be minimized. But it has to be a choice. So that's what what Bali Maharaj is doing. Bali is a pure devotee. He's a Kripa Siddha. He's not a Sadhana Siddha. Why is it? Why is he Kripa Siddha? How did he become a pure devotee? Why did Bali come to see him? Yes, because of Prahlad, Virochan, Banasura, all Krishna's coming and seeing them. Why? Because Prahlad said, Krishna told him, Nrisimhananda told him, what do you want? You did so nice to me, what do you want? He said, don't tempt me. I'm not a businessman. Don't try. But if you want to do something for my father, so merciful, His father tried to kill him. He said, why just your father? Your father, the father of your father, 14 generations up and down. Prabhupada is explaining it like this, 14 generations up and down. So Bali is saved because of Prahlad, but he's a Kripa Siddha. He's not a Sadhana Siddha. I don't know if you read this book of Tamal Krishna Maharaj, The Servant of the Servant. So in the intro, he says that sometimes my disciples may feel a little funny when they know about my life, my previous life. You know how Prabhupada went to a agricultural plant. There was a farm, and they were all naked. And there was a lot of senior devotees of our women who were there, and Prabhupada took them. They became devotees. So that was past life. So he said they should understand that, my disciples should understand that there's different people who you become advanced in different ways. One is Sadhana Siddha, one is Kripa Siddha, and so on. Some are eternally liberated. But Bali was a Kripa Siddha. Because of Prahlad Maharaj, he naturally had this attraction for Krishna. So when he saw Vamana, because his heart was purified, he naturally wanted to give. But Sukacharya told him, no, you're not going to give. And he says, yes, I will give. And this is the struggle that we have all the time in us. Because what is our tapasya? We have to chant 16 rounds. But we have to chant attentive 16 rounds. But the mind's always giving us reasons not to chant. So the tapasya is to say, shut up, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to chant my 16 rounds. Like Sasrup Maharaj in one of his, in the Japa Reform notebook, he says, okay, it's hot? Okay, we'll open the window, but continue chanting, don't stop. So somewhere or another there's this whole discussion with the mind, was like Sukacharya telling to say that you promise, but don't do it, because we made vows. And Bali made a vow. He said, I'm going to give 3 steps. And Sukacharya said, no, he's cheating you, but I promise. No, but he's cheating you, but I promised. So this is what's happening daily in our lives. Like I got initiated, I was so young, I don't think I figured out what the 4 principles were at that time. I figured out later, the 4 principles, yeah, that's really interesting. It's not that easy. So that's the 4 principles that we have to follow. So, but we promised. Prabhupada said that a person who cannot follow his promise is like an animal. You try one time, try second time, the third time there's... So, obviously, I'm in that position. It's very difficult. So we made a vow. So the mind all the time is going to try to break our vows. So the one tapasya is the chanting. The other is getting up in the morning. The mind is always going to say, like Sukacharya, why get up in the morning? You went to bed so late, you're going to fall asleep in the day, take a good night's rest. Psychologists saying you should sleep 8 hours a day, your body's going to get sick. So many reasons the mind is giving. But the devotee is saying, no, I have to do this tapasya, I have to get up. Or the mind is saying, when you go in the temple, I'm not going to offer obeisances. Or you offer a little bit like this, then you run away. The tapasya is to go offer full obeisances, offer full, pranam mantra and all this. But the mind is saying, no, you don't have to do it. These are all our tapasyas. What we eat. We go in the street, we take a dub, we don't offer it. But we're supposed to offer everything we eat. That's our tapasya, that I have to take 2 minutes, Namahom Vishnu Padaya, and I have to offer the dub. But the mind is saying, no, you don't have to, it's the dham. Everything's offered here. Why do you have to offer anything? And in the West, no one's offering. What am I going to do? I'm going to offer, I'm in the office, and then everyone's going to look at me, I'm not going to offer. So the mind is always tricking us all the time. So that's our tapasya, is what we eat. We want to eat certain things that we cannot offer. So what do? Offer to Lord Shiva? Certain things we're not supposed to eat, we still eat them, we're thinking it's okay. So that's the tapasya. The mind is saying, yes, eat it. And I'm saying, no, I don't want to eat it because I promise I cannot eat it. So that's a constant struggle between Sukacharya and Bali, and between our mind and us all the time. So the only way for us to be able to take this challenge is to voluntarily take it. And that's what tapasya means, that I'm going to take a decision and I'm going to do it on my own. It cannot be forced. It has to be a choice. Like when we came, what was that example? There was a class, and in the class, I don't know who was giving class, but he was saying that what do we do when our mind is weak? And the person giving class said, your mind is not weak. You gave up everything, you became a devotee. Your mind is strong. So just take your mind and just go on with your decision. So it has to be a decision. Because unless it's a decision, how are you going to do it? Like the student. He's deciding that I'm not going to go to the clubs, I'm not going to enjoy, I'm going to study for 4 years. Why? Because I want to get a good job, I want to get money, I want to get a family. I'm going to do that austerity. Actually, that is not tapasya. Tapasya, the term tapasya is only for spiritual benefit. Hiranyakashipu was not tapasya, but it was austerities. But it's not this transcendental tapa. Lord Brahma heard tapa like this. And he created 4 principles, Sankhya, Yoga, Viragya, Tapa. And he took the 4 Kumaras and he put one in charge of all of them. And one is tapa. That's the first thing he heard, that you have to do tapasya. And he was thinking, where is this tapa coming from? But he was so smart, he figured it out. And then he saw Krishna face to face, our Brahma, and he shake hands. So that's the only way to see Krishna. We have to do tapa. We have to give up voluntarily. Because the pushes are so strong, and I want to enjoy it. But I have to say no, because I want to go to that country. I want to go to the spiritual world. But unless we hear every day, how we will always remain enthused, that's the point. We have to stay enthused. If we don't go to that's why Prabhupada says that unless you're in ISKCON or associating with the devotees, you can't be a devotee. You have to associate with devotees. Because the mind will always take over you. So we have to go to the morning program, we have to hear classes, we have to exchange. We constantly have to hear what is the goal. Because if we don't hear what is the goal, we're going to forget about the goal. It's like when you fly in a plane, the lower you are, the more the earth and the houses, they seem so real. But when you go up in the sky, they look so little and the clouds seem so real. So when we're in material consciousness, Maya seems so real. It's like impossible to give up Maya. But when you go up in transcendental consciousness, Maya looks so small and Krishna looks so real. It's like sometimes you don't want to go to the temple. When you go in the temple, you hear the kirtan, you feel so enthused and you're thinking, wow, what did I do? Why didn't I come? Because when you're in it, you feel enthused. When you come out of it, it's like, I lose my enthusiasm. It's like you purify that's what people say. And the temple, I feel enthused, I go out, starts again. So that's why Prabhupada gave this sandwich program, Program in the morning, program at night, and you try to maintain in the day. Like a plane, you put gas in it, it flies. It wants to go down, you put more gas, and it continues. Many years ago, we used to give the example of now we don't have it anymore, but the Walkman, the Walkman, they used to listen, and there was batteries in it. So you charge your Walkman for 4 hours, it goes on for, 8 hours. So that's the only way, but it has to be a decision that we make, and that decision is based on a goal, and we have to want to get to that goal. Like the student is thinking, I'm going to study, I'm going to do it because I want to be a master's of physics. I want to have a PhD. Why? Because I want to make money, I want to enjoy. So he's determined, he has the goal. And every time his mind is telling him, don't study, he's thinking, no, I want to do this. So we also have to have the same determination. Once I saw this lady, she was born with no hands. So she drives with her feet, she sews with her toes, she brushes her teeth with her toes, she writes letters with her toes. What amount of determination. She's so determined because she wants to make it. So unless one understands the goal and is determined to reach the goal, tapasya will be very difficult. It has to be a voluntary aspect that no, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to do that because I want this. I have to minimize. So Prabhupada says and then Prabhupada explains that it's very fearful. It is fearful to give up sense gratification. What else is there? We hear from the scriptures, it's great, you're going to chant Hare Krishna, you're going to feel bliss, transcendental pleasure, you're going to be swooping, your tears are going to come, but you're thinking, wow, that's not happening immediately. So what am I getting in exchange? Yeah, it looks good, the painting looks good, but I'm not exactly, experiencing it. So it's very fearful to go from one branch to another or to jump from one mountain to another. It's a faith. It's an aspect of faith. Faith in the Guru, Shraddha. It starts with Shraddha, that we have to have faith. Because the fear comes that, like Arjuna asked Krishna, what's going to happen if I start, but then I don't finish? Am I not going to be like a cloud in the sky who has no, is not riveted, is not attached? That was his fear. So when you have to give up sense gratification, it's very fearful actually if you really give it up. Oh, I have to give it all up. How can I do that? So it has to be in connection to the goal. And when one knows the goal, one can minimize to get to that goal. And then we have to trust Krishna, and we know Krishna gives us different signs. You come in the temple, you feel pleasure, you associate with the devotees, you gradually transfer more and more into spiritual happiness, and you see it has a reason to be. It makes sense? Any question on this before I continue? Yeah. We can ask questions, then I'll continue. That's what I'm asking on that point. Yeah, anything I said. Yeah.
You mentioned that Bali Maharaj was a Kripa Siddha, and therefore he was already pure. At the same time, I remember hearing a conversation between Prabhupada and some devotees where they asked him, what does this mean when someone gets the mercy like future generations? And Prabhupada mentioned that it means that you get the opportunity to take to devotional service, but he seems to intimate that it doesn't mean that you automatically become pure. You still get the opportunity.
Yes.
Though. So I was wondering if you could clarify, were you stating that because Bali was born in Prahlad's family, he was automatically pure, or you just mean
No,
that
Prabhupada say that. Like Kulashekar Prabhu asked, the English Kulashekar Prabhu, asked Prabhupada because his fathers drove Prabhupada, so he asked, what does it mean? He says they have the opportunity to get Krishna consciousness. I get it also. But Prabhupada does mention that Bali is Kripa Siddha. So I don't know if it's all of them or it's just him, but Prabhupada does mention, and I can send it to you, that he's a Kripa Siddha. But I did hear what you said. Any other questions? This is very important to understand because as we advance in Krishna consciousness, it becomes mechanical. It shouldn't be, but we become like mechanical, and we forget the cause. The businessman is always thinking, so much money I have today, so much money I'll do tomorrow, and I'm going to give him even more money. So he's ready. He doesn't take care of his family. He doesn't go to the clubs. He doesn't enjoy. He just wants to make money to get the goal. And when he gets the money, he dies. He forgets about the whole thing. But that's what happens to him. But to us, we'll go back to Godhead. So we have to remember the goal. What is the goal? Unless we do this every day, why am I doing it? Then it's very easy not to do this tapasya. Yes, I want to have sex life, but Krishna says, no, don't have sex life unless you have children or you're in family, because it's going to minimize your spiritual advancement. Okay, I'm not going to do it because I've done it so many times. Or I want to eat something that's not good. No, it's not good. It's not offered. It's not offerable. Okay, I'll do this tapasya because I want to go to the higher goal. That decision has to be taken in the heart. Unless we take that decision, we're always going to go back and forth in doing and not doing, like bhoga tyaga. It's like a pendulum. One day I renounce, one day I enjoy. I always give that example. My sister, every time she wanted to lose weight, she would take salad one day, chocolate the next day, salad one day, chocolate the next day. When I was a Brahman, she would say, yeah, I'm going to get up at 1 o'clock, I'll chant all my rounds, do it for a week or two, and I start, getting up at 4 again. And, it's so difficult because it's such a high standard. Bhoga tyag, renunciation, enjoyment, Conditioned soul is always going back and forth. So unless we make that decision that this is where I want to go, and we understand, and we constantly have to remember why we're there. That's why we go to Bhagavatam class. Satswat Maharaj once said, if you don't go to Bhagavatam class, maybe that's the class that will stop you from blooping that day. Obviously, it was very fanatic at these days. Everyone had to go to class. Now people don't go to class so much, but it's okay. But the class is so important because we come and we hear. And we constantly have to hear classes also outside. We hear Prabhupada, our Guru's classes, we read. Because the gopis, they didn't care about who's Krishna. They loved him. Tapasya is not for pure devotees. Tapasya stopped when you have pleasure. When you serve Krishna, you chant Hare. Okay, in the beginning you chant to make advancement, and after that when you're pure, you chant because it gives you pleasure. So there's no question of tapasya when you're a pure devotee because you're doing it naturally out of pleasure. But this tapasya has to be there, and it has to be based on remembrance of the goal, and that remembrance comes through association. And unless there's no association, it is not possible. And we have to help each other. That's why we say no prajalpa. we come together, hey, this happened, this happened. No, we should say, look, I read this in the Bhagavatam, I read this pastime, I read this. Then we feel enthused. But if our association become Pajalpa or Gramya Katha or village talk, then we become very drained. And what happens is after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, not everyone, but some of us like me, you become slack, and you say, yeah, I'll go to the temple, and you see these bhaktas, and when they hear the conch, they run. And I'm thinking, I'm walking, yeah, it's going to pass. Envy, So no, we should always have that enthusiasm, and that enthusiasm will keep us, but that comes from remembrance of the goal, that I want to go back to Godhead. I want to become a pure devotee. I want to feel these ecstatic feelings. So this tapasya is voluntary in that sense. So that was one of the points. The other thing is, because of this, we are here. Unless Prabhupada did all these austerities, if you read all these letters of 65, Prabhupada, when he was in America, it says that sometimes he went to bed, he wrote to, I think it's Moraji, I don't know who it is, he wrote, but he said that sometimes I'm trembling, I'm so hungry at night. And Achyutananda said that Prabhupada told him that he was staying with these people, and sometimes there was 2 beds, and sometimes they were not sleeping at night. So much austerities we went through tapasya. But why did he do this tapasya? His tapasya wasn't chanting principles, that was gone. But he was doing tapasya to follow Bhaktisiddhanta's order. And Bhaktisiddhanta's order came from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why? To save us. So unless Prabhupada did tapasya, we would not be there. And unless our gurus did tapasya, we would not be there. Those who are not Prabhupada disciples, we would not be there. So unless we don't do tapasya, the other ones don't be there. It's a change. It's a sacrifice. So because the sacrifice of Prabhupada, sacrifice of our gurus, our sacrifice, then Krishna consciousness will explain, and then the whole world will come to Krishna. Although Prabhupada said not everyone will become Krishna conscious. There was a discussion between Rameshwar and Prabhupada in the train. He said it's not that everyone's going to become 100% Krishna conscious, not possible. But everyone will be flooded. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu created this ocean and everyone's flooding, and Nityananda is even more merciful that he takes the head of the Mayavaris and he said, drink it. And he puts it under water. That's why Nityananda is even more merciful. That's why we can't forget the preaching aspect, and sometimes, yes, we can't go on books, we can't do so many things. But at least between us, between others, when we meet people, we should try to help them speak about Krishna and all that stuff. So that penance, that sacrifice that Prabhupada did, that our gurus do, that we are doing, is meant to save the world. Like Vasudev Dutt, he said that, I want to save everyone. He didn't care. I'll take all the hellish consequences. Give me everything. I'll rot in hell for eternity. Just take them away. That is the heart of the pure devotee, so soft. He's ready to tolerate, he's ready to suffer for the world to be saved. So not only do we remember the goal for us, but we remember the goal that we have to repay our gurus and Prabhupada by preaching. We know that discussion that Giriraj Maharaj asked in the train, and there was other discussion, how do you repay the guru? He said, you can't repay, but you can try to preach. So all this is into one bundle. The tapasya, the renunciation that we have to do, we have to remember why we're doing it, and by doing it, we can save others also in this way. So this is this verse and this purport is a perfect example of tapasya. That he didn't have just, one apartment, one house, one kata, one biga, one country. He had the whole universe. This is pretty tough. But we know in ancient times, like for example, Priyavata didn't want to become in charge of the universe. There was a fight between his father and him that you should take it. No, I don't want it. Yes, take it. No, I don't want it. I want to become a sannyasi. But he says, I'm old. Manu was saying, I'm old. I'm going to go. I have to go renounce. But who do you see like this now in politics who wants to give up like that? No one wants to do that. But it is in the ancient times, people were trained that I have to give up at a certain time. I have to do tapasya if I want to make spiritual advancement. Finally, Priyavata did it because Brahma came. Narada Muni said, no, you don't do it, you're becoming sannyas. But when Brahma came, Narada Muni said, okay. He can take in charge of the universe. And Brahma blessed him that you will never be affected by material life. Although it says that he was like a puppet in the hands of his wife. But he wasn't affected. That was an external manifestation. So we all also have that protection. So anyway, this is a perfect example of tapasya, that he's voluntarily taking his wealth. He knows Vamana is going to take it, and he's saying, take it. And Vamana is so pleased, and he's torturing him. Where's my third step going to go? He says, "You the thief." Actually, Vamana is the thief. 3 steps, he took everything. In 2 steps, "You the thief." And Prahlad came, and he was so ashamed. Bali was so ashamed in front of Prahlad that, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? And he said, "Okay, put it on my head." That was final surrender, Atmanivedana, like that. So we can use that verse and that purport when you read it to see how we can do it in our lives. But it has to be voluntarily. Voluntarily means we have to remember the goal. Like when we join, it's voluntarily. Now the kids that are born in Krishna consciousness, that's the difference. They join, but they don't voluntarily join. They're born. So they also have to, that's the false conception. We think, one ex-Gurukuli told me, he says, in Alachua, he says, if a drunken man comes in the temple, you give him some halva. But if a drunkard ex-Gurukuli comes in the temple, you kick him. Why? Because you have an expectation. He should be a pure devotee. No, he should not be a pure devotee because he was born there. He still has to make a decision, a commitment. So the commitment has to be there. We made a commitment. Now we just have to maintain that commitment because we made. That you be initiated, not initiated. But if we initiated, we made a commitment. We have to maintain that commitment. And we do that by remembering the goal. Why have we committed? We've rejected because there was no enjoyment. It's like when you eat too much, there's indigestion. Then you say, "I'm not eating anymore." And people are saying, "Wow, you are so renounced. You've not been eating for 5 days." "I can't eat, I'm going to vomit." But later on, it's not because he's advanced, it's just he can't eat. So when we join Krishna consciousness, we just can't eat material life anymore. Most of the people come because they're tired of material life. But then what happens is material life comes back. The taste for eating comes back. So unless one has knowledge, one has realization, he can't fight it and he goes back. I had one god sister, she joined, she threw all the cards, social security, health cards, she threw it away, she cut it, threw it in the garbage. I'm renouncing. 4 years later, she had to apply for all her cards again because she went back. So it has to be a decision. And that decision, this commitment, has to be a real commitment. If not, we cannot make it. We'll always be going this way, that way, this way, this way. We have to be committed. We have to be sthitadiya, fixed. You know, Prabhupada, when he read this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, that one who is fixed in consciousness, that obviously he's a pure devotee, but he said that affected him. So we have sthitadiya muni, we have to be fixed in our consciousness. And how do we do it? Is we have to hear all the time. We have to associate all the time. If we don't stay with devotees, if we don't associate, we don't come to the temple, we don't go to programs, we don't listen to class, then it's going to be very difficult for us to be fixed in consciousness. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Yes, Prabhuji. Jivanath Prabhu ki jai.
You were bringing up this point of enthusiasm, which I really like. Enthusiasm sounds good to me. And you have to have a determination. One of the hardest things that I've discovered, and maybe others have too, is being patient.
Yes, yes.
You know, because we all want to be advanced. We all want to be pure devotees. And after a certain time, usually you can set a goal in your mind. And when you don't get it, it's a little frustrating. I know when I first came to the movement, I thought by seeing some of the senior God brothers, I thought, well, they've been devotees now for like 7, 8 years, but maybe by the time they get to 10 years in the movement, they're going to all be pure devotees. And after 10 years, I saw probably nobody was really a pure devotee. So I got a little bit discouraged, thinking, oh man, how long does this process take? Just a story about that is in Back to Godhead magazine, they ask for questions, and they do it online now. And this one girl inquired about, japa and chanting and the whole process, and they communicated with her and told her, how it all works. And you take these beads, you chant, and you'll become purified. And she wrote back after 3 months, she goes, okay, I've been chanting with these beads for 3 months, and I'm not a pure devotee yet. I'm not getting it. Something's wrong. So it was really hard to explain that, it does take a while. It could take your whole life. It could take several lives. But how do we develop that patience to hang in there when it's 4 a.m. in the morning and you've been getting up for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40 years of getting up at that, and How do you keep that going?
It's
How do you
easy.
keep that
It's
determination, enthusiasm, and patience? How do you keep that?
You remember what you did. It's like when you cheat someone and someone's not keeping you, you remember that for the last 20 times you took his money away because you cheated on her or cheated on him. So we've cheated Krishna for billions of years. So we're thinking, hey, I've been chanting for 20 years, Krishna. Can you see I'm chanting? I'm chanting really seriously. Take me back. And Krishna's thinking, wow, 1 second. It's been billions and billions of you've been cheating me, and now you're saying I'm coming back. Don't mind, I have a little doubt. Let me send Maya, test you a little bit, see if it's working. And if I see that yes, he seems really determined, let's start our relationship again. So we have to remember what we did. Like my godbrother also, he wrote to me, I've been chanting for 15 years. Even one I must have chanted purely, I'm not feeling anything. I said, good luck, I'm not feeling anything after more than double of that. So, but the thing is, it's like one day I came home, I had a black eye. My mother didn't ask me what happened. She knew I was fighting. So when we come in front of the deities with this body, he knows. We cheated him. This body means cheating. So we've cheated Krishna. If someone cheats you, and for 20 times you give him money, he doesn't pay you back. He said, oh, trust me. Huh? You're going to look at him, trust me? You say, can you start paying me back the other debts? Then maybe we'll think about the others. So it's the same thing for billions of years. We cheated Krishna again and again. Maybe we went through lives where we said that you have no eyes, you have no feet. Maybe with Mayavadis, we took so many births. We want to become Krishna. We're taking his place. And we say, hey Krishna, listen, look at me. I'm chanting. Can you take me back? So we have to understand what we did. So our mentality should be that, listen Krishna, I feel so bad of what I did. You don't want to take me, don't take me. You don't want to take me, that's okay. But I'll do what I have to do. I'll show you, I'm trying. And if by any chance you want to take me back, I'll see it as your causeless mercy. Lord Brahma prays like this. And was it Mukundadat? He did some Maya with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, got angry at him. He said, I'm not going to see you again. So that he asked, how long? He'll see me in millions of years. He said, Jai, I'm going to see Krishna in millions of years. He was happy. He wasn't expecting. So why should we expect? Devotional service doesn't mean, like Prahlad Maharaj said, that with business people, I'm expecting, you must give me. What kind of exchange is that? I cheat you, and now you have to give me something? No. I have to show you that I'm going to do something, and if you want, take me. If not, you should kill me, because everything I did, how can you take me? How can ever someone trust me again? So we have to go back and understand what we've done. It's horrible what we've done. Krishna creates the world. He creates us. He said, let's play. I don't want to play. What? It's like you create a machine, and one part of the machine's not working. Oh, you take it away, put it somewhere else, and replace it. I want to play. And then the machine saying, I want to come back. Oh, no, it's full. Nowhere to play. I want to come back, please. Okay, do this program. Okay, I'm doing it. Hey, listen, I've done it for 2 days. Can I come? Let's take time a little bit. So it comes from that. We have to realize what we've done is horrible. So we have to pray to Krishna, I'm going to do what I have to do every day, enthusiastically, patiently, tolerantly. And if Krishna wants to take me, that's why we said that do things so Krishna can see you, not that we see Krishna. So we shouldn't have all these expectations. And it is these expectations that are killing us. We have to do things out of duty. Duty. This is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavatam starts where Bhagavad Gita stops from the duty. And then we see examples. But what about Harishchandra? I mean, Harishchandra or Rantidev or Sibi, they were all tested. But they went through their duty. They did not expect anything. So we have to do things out of duty. And if it happens, it happens. But why should it happen to me? I've done so many bad things. Imagine what we've done in billions of lifetimes, telling Krishna, I'm enjoying separate from you. I'm enjoying as a fish, I'm enjoying as an animal. And as humans, we don't know what we did in past life as humans. I know what I did before I joined. That wasn't so good either. And now I'm telling Krishna, I've been chanting, take me. So Krishna is saying, okay, so let me send Maya. Let us test you a little bit. And if you pass these tests, it means that you're starting to be ready. Does it make sense? No? Any other question or comments? We were bad boys and bad girls. We've cheated Krishna badly. So why would someone take us back? So we're doing the process of prayachita, and we know Krishna is so kind. At one point, we don't know what's going to happen. But the less we have expectation, the faster it will happen. It's good. Anything else? Yeah, singer.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I had a comment in connection to patience. Something came to my mind and I wanted to share. I hope
Please.
you don't mind. Another thing I was contemplating is that sometimes it's easier to stay patient when you're enjoying what you're doing.
When you what?
When you find taste in what you're doing.
Yes.
So I think sometimes for me what works anyway is finding that service where I can become absorbed in. So I don't think so much about what's going to happen tomorrow because I'm happy right now. So being engaged according to one's nature.
Yeah, but what's going to happen is because Maya knows your weakness in your heart, she's going to go pick that stuff. And it's not always going to be so smooth because she'll start picking it. It's like sometimes saying, oh, I want to go to another man, I want to go to another woman. But whatever they didn't go through with that relationship, they'll have to go through in the next relationship. Because that's what they have to go through. So you can't jump your karma. So yes, it's good to do something based on what you like to do. And that's one level of advancement. But Krishna will be testing because unless we're humiliated, how will we surrender to Krishna? Because we're still proud. If we hear, means we're still proud. Prabhupada said if you accept Krishna in 1 second, you can go back. Accept means I'm doing everything you want, that's all. But we still in the heart have a tendency to enjoy. We still have this rebellious connection that, I'm going to do it, but not that completely. So Krishna, even though we're in a perfect situation, Krishna, Maya will come and pick, and then at that point there'll be discomfort. That makes sense?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I get the picture. Basically, it's like there's a psychological thing that has to be there, and you've spoken about that extensively. You need to go through that internal resolve. That has to be the understanding your fallen position. I was just so adding that
yes,
on a
helps,
practical
yes.
level, you need to be engaged according to your psychophysical
yes.
nature, so it's easier to
yes.
follow what you're saying. So
yeah, because you have to be. And that comes to being engaged based on your own propensity, because if you're not engaged according to your propensity, it becomes very difficult. But it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes we try, it doesn't work, then you have to see it as Krishna's mercy. But yeah, that's the best, and that's the expertise of our leaders. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All goes to Prabhupada.